everybody. Today we're going to talk about BC and not before Christ BC. We're going to talk about the other BC, body count. Body count matters. Being fingered. Okay. Wait. First of all, we're gonna say ideally your body count should be that you've never lost your V card. All right, girls and guys. Your body count should be 0. It should be 1, and your husband or wife should be the only one. That should be, ideally, that would be your body count. Your BC. Now, I think men and women have a different understanding of the word virginity. Virginity to a man means that they've never had sex. That means they've never stuck their thing anywhere inside of a girl. Okay? For a girl, they've changed the word to virginity to mean only your D has been in their P. So they don't. A lot of girls don't consider oral, anal, or handing, or fisting, or fingering. They don't consider those particularly as being a virgin, as not being a virgin. A girl will even not consider girls dressing provocatively, hoary or slutty, is also, they could be a virgin and have done that, but the problem with that is if you've done that, you're no longer chaste. So the Bible says chaste. There's a thing called chaste in the Bible. Okay, chaste means that you are not just a virgin, but you're pure, you're chaste. That means you don't dress provocatively or have shown nudes or your body in a way that you dressed like a Jezebel and hoary or any of that. So you could be you girl, it's very well possible a girl can be a virgin but not be chaste, and it's also possible a girl can be not a virgin but be chaste. And let's admit it, like, unless the girl is, I don't know, under 15, she's probably not going to be a virgin. And unless she was in high school in like some small town and she never moved to the city and she never moved out of and she didn't go to a college, she's probably not going to be a virgin by 18 or 19 or 20. It's probably just not going to happen. Now, it is possible you could find a girl, and let's just admit it, that if she is anywhere above a 5 in the looks, if she's mid, if she is not a 3 or lower in the looks department, more than likely she's also not going to be a virgin. So we're just going to admit this. Let's just admit this is the truth. So, with all that being said, what would be an acceptable BC? What would be an acceptable BC? I would say that you would be lucky as a man to find a girl who has not been with at least 5 other guys. At least 5. in today's world. If their number is 5 and under, you're good. Now, with that being said, you need to ask a few questions, and as a man, you should ask a few questions. And these questions should be, was any of these a one night stand? If they've ever had a one night stand, a ONS, then that's an automatic red flag right there. Bam. Bam. I mean, if it doesn't matter at all how many relationships they've had or how long their relationships were, that is like, boom, red flag, right? The second question you need to ask is probably at what age did you lose your virginity? That's a pretty good question to ask. Because the longer they waited is a better thing than if they didn't wait. Like the younger the age that they lost it at is worse than the older the age they lost it at. So, say for example, they actually went through high school and waited, and they didn't lose it until they were like say 18 or 19. Now that's a little bit different. But again, like I said, so the next question you need to ask them is, how long did you wait in a relationship with a guy that you were dating before you gave them sex? This is a very good question to be asking. Because the longer they waited, the more they can hold off. And we need to ask that for every single relationship. Okay? So, for example, say a girl was dating a guy and they had a boyfriend in high school at like say 16, but they dated for like a year before, like a year or longer, and she didn't lose her V card until 17. And then, due to situations in life, they had to break up at like say 18 because he went off to one school in college or something, and she went off to another school, and they just never got back together, even though she would have gotten back together, but it just didn't happen, because he went off to college and found somebody else, or she went off to college and she just ended up getting with someone else, and they didn't go to the same colleges or something, right? That's a common little thing. So they waited about a year before they even did anything, and then they waited maybe, and then they were together for like a year. So one is, how long did you wait before giving him sex? And then how long were you together while having sex? Like, so it's like, how basically that would be like, how long did you wait, and then how long were y'all in a sexual relationship? So how long were you in a non-sexual relationship, and how long were you in the sexual relationship? Now the next question would be, how often did y'all have sex when you were in the sexual relationship? Because if all y'all were doing when y'all were dating was having sex, that means you weren't really getting to know each other. You're just having sex. Another question would be, how much or like, so basically how often, and then another question you would need to ask the girl, it would be, how many sexual things did you try with that boyfriend or all of the boyfriends you had combined? Basically, what have you experienced sexually? That would be another good question to ask. So, um, because the girl, um, the girl is going to be comparing you as a guy to every guy she's ever been with, and she's also going to compare everything she's done with every guy to doing it with you. If she's JK'd a guy, she's going to want to JK you. If she's sucky sucky, she's going to want to sucky sucky you. And she's going to compare your thing to all the other men's things, right? Uh, and vice versa, really, because, and if she was bang banged with the fanga fang, she's going to want you to bang bang her with the fang fang. Whatever she has experienced with other men, she's going to expect you to experience with you too. Also, she's going to compare you to any and every man that she's already been with. These are reasons why actually 0 is the best number. And it's also the same way with guys. Okay, a man who's had a lot of women is going to compare sexually his girl and anything and everything she does with him sexually to every single girl he's also had and been with. So, in a way, 0 with a 0 body count is the best way to have no competition and no comparison at all. So, guys, you need to be severely asking these girls these questions. And it is like scientifically known, proven fact that the pair bonding system works the lower the girl's body count is. The more she's slept around, the more she slept around, the more her body has experienced physically and sexually, the less she'll be able to bond with particular individuals. And that is why being a virgin and I'm not doing anything with any man ever is, and then doing that thing with the man the first time and the only time ever with that one man makes the pair bonding between that sexual act better than any other ones. Now, another question to ask is if and this would be a definite red flag if they are this question, would be simply, did you ever get rid of, like, basically it would be, did you, okay, you know they're not a virgin if they're a single mom, which a single mom's a red flag. But you know what else is a red flag? If they've ever had an abortion. See, because you need to know, because most men want to have children, right? And it's possible an abortion can prevent you from having future children. So a woman that, in a way, a single mom, from a Christian biblical perspective, a single mom is better than a girl that has had an abortion. And the reason for this is because at least the single mom chose to keep the child. And a single mom theoretically should only be a single mom because the man ran off and left her and and refused basically to marry her. That is basically the only way you should be a single mom. Uh, if you couldn't get the man to marry you, you really shouldn't have gotten pregnant by him. I mean, honestly, that's just the way I'm feeling about that. But if you had sex with guys and one of them got you pregnant and you deliberately got rid of the child, either because he pressured you, which I don't think that's the case, or because you just didn't want to have the child, which I think is more likely the case, then that's like a serious red flag because that's just terrible. That's like a huge red flag. Um, because especially since I'm like extremely pro life, so if I found out you had an abortion, I'd be like, bye bye, laters. Like single mom is like way higher than abortion. A girl that's had an abortion. That's just my personal opinion. You viewers might have a different opinion on that one. And honestly, I would like seriously make an exception to the virgin rule because like if a girl was like legitimately raped, like I mean legitimately, I know there's so many girls out there that they claim, oh, I was raped, um, but and they're just lying and stuff. What they mean is, I changed my mind during the sex because the sex was bad, or um, I had buyer's remorse, so to speak, type deal, and they weren't really raped. They had sex, and then they just didn't like the sex, and then uh, the guy tried to like they thought having sex would make the guy want him more, and then they're like he didn't want him after the sex, so they like got all mad about the guy and tried to accuse him of rape or something and false allegations and whatnot. Like some girls try to you know there's all kinds of false allegations with rape and stuff. So yeah. So anyway, the point is, if you were a girl and you were like legitimately raped, that would still count as your one, but it doesn't count as bad on you as say like like say you haven't done anything except because of that rape. You know what I'm getting at? Um, like you were a virgin, you got raped, and then you you still live chaste and like a virgin, and you only have that rape. I can't hold that rape against you because of what the rapist did. Now you still have a body count of one, and it wasn't me, but still, and it wasn't the future man or husband that you're gonna marry, but still, you need to you need to admit that that's why you have that one. Now, I would say in this particular case that the the girl that was raped is higher on the chart than the single mom, but it's also higher on the chart than the you had a one night stand. It's also higher on the chart than because the difference between a rape and a one night stand is you pick the guy to sleep with and then you don't ever want to see him again. That's on you. Uh, with rape, you didn't choose the guy to sleep with you to have sex with. He chose that and he violated your body, right? Okay, that's what rape is. So so rape is against your will, while a one night stand is your will, you know? And I would also beg to say that the rape girl's one is actually better from a, because they decided to stay chaste and stay as if they were still a virgin after that happened, then the girl that gave it up to their boyfriend and then they stopped dating and they left. Like, I could understand if you gave it up to your boyfriend, y'all kept dating, and then y'all like got married and stuff, and y'all later that would be cool, right? And then like maybe he died or something, and you became a widow. So like if it so the difference between that now the rapist girls the girl that was raped was one would probably still be I don't know she almost be like a virgin just like a widow that's only had ever had one other husband and he died and they didn't have no children and he was their first he was her first she was like a virgin with him. Maybe they did it before they got married. Maybe they waited till they got married. The point is, she's only ever been with this husband, right? And then he died, and she became a widow, right? So, on those two accounts, those ones wouldn't be as bad as any other ones. So, I think in this particular case, I'm not sure. I think the widow chose to have a relationship, and she's always in her future self is going to compare you, the new second husband, to her first husband who died. So, but the female that was raped is actually still higher than the widow, but the widow chick is like a little. It's really really close though. That's what I'm saying. It's really close. Now, the advantage of the widow chick girl though is she's not going to have any of that trauma. She might compare you to her previous man, but she can fall in love with you just as much as she fell in love with her previous man. And if she if she took good care of her previous man, she like she took good care like she's supposed to as a biblical woman, um then you got that advantage. She's going to take just as good care of you as she did her previous husband. So that could be a plus. That could be a good thing. Now the girl that was raped. She's going to have the trauma from the rape, and whenever you try to do something physical with her, unless she's gone over that trauma, she's it might bring back some of that trauma when you try to do something physical with her. But she's also going to know that from a biblical perspective that you accepted her for that with that trauma and that you're not going to do the things that they did because you're going to make love to her and you're going to have relations with her in marriage from you know and you're going to enjoy one another together. So they're a little bit different. So yeah, these are things you need to know. So like the best number is 0, and then you got the 1, and the 1 there's like the three different ones, the rape one, the widow one, and then the like other one where like say they it was the high school sweethearts or possibly college sweethearts and just life, did stuff and they just ended up not together, kind of deal. Then you might find a girl that's been 2, 3, but like if she got over 5, no. And if any of those If any of those times was a one night stand, definitely cut her from the cloth. If she's a widow and you know her body count's one, is now if she's a widow and her body count and she had men before that man, no. If she's like, so it had to be the was a virgin at marriage type deal with the widow kind of deal. She couldn't have had like two or three guys and then got married and then been a widow. You know that no. And then wants to be with you. No, 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 no. And it's kind of the same way with the girl that was raped because no offense, but if she's like if she's promiscuous and she claims she was raped, yeah, kind of looks bad on the girl. No offense, girls. No offense to girls that were actually raped, but if you are a very promiscuous girl, it doesn't look good on your. It doesn't look very good when you claim you just got raped. Like, yeah, it doesn't look. It doesn't look good. I'm just saying, it doesn't look good. And not reporting it immediately and right away also doesn't look good. Just saying. Rape is terrible, but false allegations are terrible. And if you're already being promiscuous, that's pretty terrible. And it's not going to look good if you want to claim that you were raped and, oh, but you had blah amount of guys in this week alone, and now you want to claim you were raped. Yeah, it's not going to look very good. And then also like you get what I'm saying, right? It just doesn't look good. Also, it really doesn't look good if you don't like immediately report it like the day you were raped. It just doesn't look good. I get that the girls like feel like bad or something, but like it just doesn't seem like the fact that you didn't immediately report what happened to you like just seems like you kind of accepted it and you want to move on, and that kind of makes it seem like you were into it or it or whatever. You know, from my perspective, from a man's logical perspective here, if you was raped and you didn't immediately report it, it looks bad. It really, really looks bad because it makes it look like you accepted it, which means you consented and you kind of enjoyed it and kind of liked it. That's what it makes it seem like from my perspective as a man. Also, if you were like extremely promiscuous type girl and you've had like a pretty big body count and you like had sex with like three other guys already that week and then some guy takes you out on a date or doesn't take you out on a date and he basically takes advantage of you and rapes you, it really doesn't look good on from that perspective because they're like, well, you already had sex three times this week with three different guys, and you've had sex last week and the week before with other guys, and you got like a body count of like 30 men, and you are pretty much known as a promiscuous girl that goes around and sleeps around. It just does not look good. That it really doesn't look good because you have a reputation known for being promiscuous, and now you're going to claim that this one particular guy actually did it with you and you didn't consent. Yeah, okay, that's just a side tangent. Anyway, yeah, again, doesn't look good. Really doesn't look good. That again is why 0 is the best number. 0 is the best number. Hey, keep your VE card to marriage. Yeah, don't mean no hoe. Don't be a hoe. Yeah. Anyways, um, so these are important questions to ask because the more sex they've had, the more of a red flag they are. Even if they've had a lot of sex, but they only had it with like 1, 2, 3 guys, right? It still means they're going to compare you to those guys. And like, all right, what's the old? You know what a chuck is? A chuck is a person that lets their woman be used by other men. That's what a chuck is, right? So I don't know if you would want to. I mean, I, cuck. I think it's called a cuck. It's not a chuck. It's a cuck, right? Is it cuck or chuck? Whatever. Point I'm trying to make is, you are pretty much being a cuck if you know that other guys have had sex with this girl before you. That's that's as bad as being. That's like being a cuck, right? I mean, it's like, okay, why would I want my thing to touch her stuff when somebody else, some other dude's thing has touched her junk, her stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, her hands have been on other men. Her mouth has been on other men. She's rode other men. She's had other men. She's done different positions with different other men. This doesn't go through your men. Does this not go through your mind where it's like, um, she's not mine. It's just my turn. But and when I get done, like, someone else is gonna have a turn. Doesn't that just like, to me, that sounds like some cook vibes. You know, it's like, well, yeah, I know she's done it with like 20 guys. I don't care. I'll be your 21 first. I mean, why would you want to be with a girl that's had all these other men inside of them already? It just seems, it just seems, it just seems cucky to me. I mean, in my opinion, honest opinion, that seems more cookie than, I don't know, watching a, a sexual act like corn. You know, that seems more cookie than watching some corn. Like, seriously, I mean, in my opinion, it seems that you're being more of a cook by knowing that this girl has a high body count and you're still going to sleep with them, than if you just, watched a little corn, where you watched some corn where a girl that you know for a fact you probably never going to be able to get with anyway gets with a guy. Like, what's worse, you know? Anyway, just saying. Just saying, like, seriously, what's worse? Like, seriously, what's worse? I mean, a lot of people will say that if a man watches corn, that he's a cook. But aren't you more of a cook if you like actually have sex with a girl who you know has been very promiscuous and has had a lot of men? Like, doesn't that make you a cook? Like, seriously, just saying. Uh, like, wouldn't that make you more of a cook? than them, than the guy watching the popcorn. I'm just saying. Oh me. And it's almost impossible not to watch popcorn because you'd be watching like an R-rated movie, and next thing there's a sex scene in it, and boom, you already just watched some corn. It may not have been like the hardcore stuff, but it may have been like some soft core stuff, or you just I don't know, you watching you flipping through the magazines at the doctor's office or somewhere, and that has some magazines, and next thing you know, you see these models like it's like the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. I mean, these girls are scantily clad and they're models and they're showing off their assets, if you know what I mean. So yeah, you watch softcore porn. Like you're on TikTok, face, Facebook, Instagram, scrolling, and you see girls dancing around half naked. You're watching softcore porn. So yeah, it's literally impossible to have not watched popcorn. You know, not had your little dose of popcorn. Just saying. Even if you don't even ever mess with any of the hard stuff, you're going to see the light stuff like daily. You can walk down the street and see some popcorn, if you know what I'm saying. The way that these girls be dressing, very provocatively and very promiscuously and not modestly. You walk down the street and see some popcorn. Heck, you can get on a date app today and, you know, the pictures, and sometimes they'll send you pictures and you just saw some popcorn. Just there. Boom. Right? So it's pretty much impossible in today's world to avoid the popcorn. Anyway, especially the the light salted buttery popcorn. Yeah. Anyways, so these questions, I guess it's all your individual preference as a guy, but I'm just gonna say that like you're probably gonna have a hard time finding a girl. Realistically speaking, you're gonna have a hard time finding a girl that actually is a virgin, and you're probably as a man gonna have to settle for a girl that has like maybe 1, 2, 3 tops. But if she has 5, or if she's ever had an ONS, or and if she's had lots of experience, it doesn't matter if she's only had like 2. I've only been with 2 guys. Yeah, it doesn't matter if she's only been with 2 guys and she had relationships that like lasted for like a year. The matter of fact, it could actually be worse because you had a relationship that lasted for like 3 years with this one guy, and you did like every single uh, dance of the tango, and twists of the salsa, and he still didn't put a ring on your finger? Like, really? He didn't marry you? Really? Something else is wrong with you. I'm just saying. I mean, a guy who gets everything from the girl that he wants, and you keep giving him that, and you've been with him for a long time, you got to be doing something wrong, or else he should have put a ring on that finger by now. I mean, there is no reason for a man to date you for over a year and not put a ring on your finger. It just makes no sense. If you're good enough to continue dating, and the guy's getting everything from you, and he ain't put a ring on your finger, either he's an a-hole or you're not doing something right. Either way, you probably should leave that, because he ain't never going to put a ring on your finger. Like if you dating a guy and he ain't put a ring on your, he ain't even tried to put a ring on your finger within a year, leave. The only way you don't need to leave is if y'all are still saving each other's selves for virginity. And he just doesn't feel like being married because he's just not like ready yet. I mean, that's the only way I could think of it. Anyway, um, but yeah, like seriously, it's not about how many. I mean, it's about how many men you've been with, but it's also about how much sex you've had, kind of deal, right? So just because you've only been with like a couple of men doesn't mean like some women try to justify it. They'll be like, "Well, does it matter that I've been with two guys and I had sex with both of them two guys 1,000 times, or I've been with 200 guys and I had sex with those 200 guys 1,000 times?" Like they try to justify that as like, what's better? Like, does it matter? I'm like, yes, it matters. Like, seriously, of course it matters. I mean, like, honestly, yes, that's a lot of sex that you've only been with two guys. That's like you've had sex with 1,000 times. That's like you, on average, you had sex with them 500 times each. And, whew, wow. Um, if you only dated like 2 years, that's like having sex it like every day with those guys. Like, I mean, there's only 365 days in a year, so yeah, uh, yeah. I mean, yeah. So you need a lower number, even though you're dating this guy for like two or three for like a year or something. Your number shouldn't be like you all you did with him. Like if I hear that you had sex with him like 200 times while you were during that relationship, I'm gonna be like, so the only thing y'all did was have sex? Like seriously, I mean, that just proves the only thing they can bring to the table to a relationship is sex. So they dated a guy for a year, but they like practically had sex with him every time they went out on a date. And would they go on a date like 2 3 times a week? Because like you you had sex with him like 200 times during a 365-day period. Like really? But what if you was like, okay, you dated a guy for like 12 months, but you only had sex with him like maybe 40 times. That means that maybe y'all maybe only had sex once a week. And I know you and him both have jobs, and I know that jobs give you 2 days off a week. So y'all and they only work you like eight or so hours a day. So I'm like, okay, y'all had a relationship and y'all only had sex maybe once a week, but not even that. Like, there's 52 weeks, and you only had sex about maybe 30, 40 times during that whole year. Seems like your relationship was a little based on more than just sex, you know? Which is better. I mean, if you think about it. Like, okay, yeah, she's got a lot of experience with it, one man, but their relationship wasn't entirely, completely just based off of sex. Because they only had sex like maybe a little less than once a week. Maybe about once every 2 weeks they had sex on average. See, these are the questions that we need to be asking the woman that we're going to marry, that we're dating. We literally need to be asking these questions. And if if girls, if y'all don't like to answer any of these questions, that is a red flag right there in itself. We need to know this is like pertinent information because depending on the guy will depend on how much is relevant and acceptable based off of the personality. See, because the guy he's going to basically fall in love with your personality. That is what he really is going to fall in love. He's going to fall in love with your personality, and he's going to like your looks and your beauty. But some of these, he's going to want to know this stuff, and it does matter. And yeah, it's important. It matters. And again, this is why actually 0 is the best number. And the only other exceptions is the 1. The 1 is in like the 3 ones, the 3 type of ones. They're fine. So yeah, body count matters. And any girl that gets basically mad at you as a guy for bringing up that she needs to tell you her body count and says body count don't matter, and she won't have a diehard serious conversation about it and won't answer these serious questions, red flag. It's too high. Hit the road and go for real. Anyway, this has been an interesting topic. Remember, God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Keep on gaming. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Jesus loves you. Jesus God. Jesus Lord. Jesus King. Jesus is ruler of everything. And like, comment, subscribe, share. Have a blessed day. I mean, these are some this is serious stuff. But only you as a man can determine based off of how much you like the girl because of her beauty and her personality. Which, again, by the way, beauty fades, and personality doesn't. It stays. So you as a man have to determine based off of her beauty and her personality how much her past actually matters to you. And yes, past performance dictates future behavior. So that is why BC matters. Anyway, have a great day. Later.